Have you looked at your bank statement recently and noticed something that didn't quite add up? Maybe a deduction you didn't expect? Well, if you found £300 mysteriously missing from your account, you are not alone. Across the UK, many pensioners are waking up to an unpleasant surprise, a £300 deduction that seems to come out of nowhere. No letter. No phone call. No clear explanation. Just gone. And for most people, it shows up as a vague line on the bank statement, something like HMRC adjustment or tax correction. It's easy to miss unless you're checking every detail, and even then, you're left wondering what it means. Is it a mistake? A penalty? Or some new rule no one told you about? The truth is, this isn't just a fluke. It's part of a broader change that HMRC has recently rolled out, involving tax code updates and adjustments for what they call benefit overpayments. But here's the worrying part: many of these deductions may not be accurate. Have you looked at your bank statement recently and noticed something that didn't quite add up? Maybe a deduction you didn't expect? Well, if you found £300 mysteriously missing from your account, you are not alone. Across the UK, many pensioners are waking up to an unpleasant surprise, a £300 deduction that seems to come out of nowhere. No letter. No phone call. No clear explanation. Just gone. And for most people, it shows up as a vague line on the bank statement, something like HMRC adjustment or tax correction. It's easy to miss unless you're checking every detail, and even then, you're left wondering what it means. Is it a mistake? A penalty? Or some new rule no one told you about? The truth is, this isn't just a fluke. It's part of a broader change that HMRC has recently rolled out, involving tax code updates and adjustments for what they call benefit overpayments. But here's the worrying part: many of these deductions may not be accurate. In fact, in several cases that have come to light, HMRC made these deductions based on outdated or incorrect information. That means some people are losing hundreds of pounds they were never supposed to pay in the first place. And unless you take the time to investigate it yourself, you might never even know. Let's talk about what's really going on. Every new financial year, usually starting in April, HMRC reviews your tax information. For pensioners, this process should be simple, especially if you have only a basic state pension. But if you receive any additional income, say from a small private pension, part-time work, savings interest, or you've claimed things like pension credit or cost of living payments, the calculation becomes more complicated. Sometimes, the system mistakenly treats these benefits as taxable income when they shouldn't be. Other times, it thinks you were paid too much support and tries to recover the difference without asking. That's how you end up with that unexplained £300 missing from your account. Now, let's be absolutely clear: just because HMRC believes they overpaid you, doesn't mean they're right. And even if they were, they should tell you before taking your money. But in many of these recent cases, there's been no communication whatsoever. Pensioners are left confused and anxious. Some don't even notice the deduction until days or weeks later. One woman told me she skipped her weekly shop because she didn't know if more money was going to disappear the following week. That's not right. That's not how retirement should feel. The issue becomes even more serious when you realize these aren't isolated incidents. Across the country, people have reported similar stories. Quiet deductions, no explanation, and a lot of confusion. Some have been hit multiple times in a row, £300 one month, then another £50 or £100 the next. HMRC is legally allowed to reclaim overpayments in installments. But again, only if those were truly overpaid, and only if the calculation was accurate to begin with. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. Several pensioners who challenged these deductions discovered mistakes in their tax codes. Once corrected, they not only got their £300 back, but in some cases, received refunds for errors made in earlier tax years. One man in Manchester got nearly £700 back after he questioned a £300 deduction and found 2 years' worth of tax code errors. So what can you do if you suspect you've been affected? First, check your bank statement. Don't just look at the big numbers. Scan every line for anything labeled HMRC adjustment or something equally vague. If you spot a deduction you weren't expecting, your next step is to check your tax code. This is crucial. Your tax code determines how much tax you pay and how your income is assessed. If it's wrong, everything else will be too. You can find your tax code on your HMRC letter, your pension payslip, or by logging into your online HMRC personal account. And if you're not sure what your tax code should be, that's okay. HMRC has a helpline, and you can ask them to explain it to you. But here's something important to remember. When you call or write to them, use this phrase: "I believe my tax code may be incorrect." This simple line triggers a formal review process. They're required by law to investigate. If they find an error, they must correct it and refund any money that was wrongly taken. But let's talk about why this is so upsetting for so many people. £300 might not sound like a lot to everyone, but for a pensioner budgeting carefully each week, it can be everything. It could be your heating bill, your groceries, a bus pass, or the little bit of money you've set aside for a birthday, a treat, or just peace of mind. To have it disappear without warning? That's not just inconvenient, it's a shock. It feels like the system you trusted has let you down. And when you're retired, on a fixed income, every surprise deduction feels like a threat to your security. That's why this message is so important. Because you have rights. And you're not powerless. You don't need to be a tax expert to protect yourself. You just need to know what to look for, what questions to ask, and who to speak to. Start by checking your records. Look at your last few months of bank statements. Match them against your pension letters or payslips. Then, check your tax code. Is it consistent with your income? If you only receive a state pension, your tax code should usually reflect that you have no taxable income. If you have other income, the calculation becomes more complex, but the principle is the same: it must be accurate and fair. If you're unsure, don't hesitate to ask for help. Family members, friends, or services like Citizens Advice can guide you through it. You can also contact HMRC directly. It might take a bit of patience, phone queues can be long, but don't give up. And everything. Write down dates, times, and the names of anyone you speak to. Keep copies of letters or messages. These records could be important if you need to challenge a deduction. You see, this isn't just about one mistake. It's about a pattern of errors and a lack of communication. It's about a system that sometimes acts first and explains later, if at all. And it's about making sure that pensioners, who have worked hard their whole lives and paid into this system, aren't left footing the bill for bureaucratic errors. Retirement should be a time of peace, not panic. You should feel confident that your money is safe, that your payments are correct, and that no one is going to quietly take hundreds of pounds from your account without telling you why. Now, you might be wondering if it's even worth the hassle to challenge HMRC. Let me assure you, it is. Because the stories are out there. People who took the time to ask questions, to check their tax codes, to push back when something didn't seem right. Many of them succeeded. Not only did they get their money back, but they felt empowered by the process. They stopped being passive recipients and became active protectors of their own finances. And that's something anyone can do. So if you're listening to this right now and thinking, maybe I should take a look, don't wait. As soon as this ends, pull out your latest bank statement. Find your tax code letter or log in online. If anything looks off, make the call. Ask the question. Use your voice. Because you deserve clarity. You deserve honesty. And most of all, you deserve to keep the money that is rightfully yours. And if this has helped you, if it's made you think, or check, or even just feel a little more in control, then please, pass it on. Share this message with someone else. A friend, a family member, someone at your community group. Because the more people who know about this, the fewer will suffer quietly. The fewer will lose money without even realizing it. And the more we hold systems like HMRC accountable to the people they're meant to serve. So, to everyone out there wondering why £300 disappeared from their account, know this: you are not alone. You are not helpless. And it is not too late. Check your records. Ask the questions. Push for answers. Because in this situation, knowledge isn't just power, it's protection.